This is part 5, inflation and interest rate. Inflation changes purchasing power. If price level increases, we cannot buy same goods using same amount of money. Therefore, people are very interested in change in purchasing power itself. It may be measured by real rate of interest. Real rate of interest only measures change in purchasing power. To get it, we should use the formula so-called the Fisher effect. The Fisher effect says 1 plus nominal interest rate equals to 1 plus real interest rate times 1 plus expected inflation rate. It means that the nominal interest rate includes our desired real rate plus adjustment for expected inflation. Approximately, the nominal rate close to sum of real rate and expected inflation rate. Let's see an example. If we require 10% real returns and we expect inflation to be 8%, what is the nominal rate? According to the Fisher effect, 1 plus nominal rate equals to 1 plus real rate 10% times 1 plus inflation 8%. So the nominal rate equals to 1.1 times 1.08 minus 1, which is 18.8%. Approximately, nominal rate equals to 10%, real rate plus 8%, inflation 18%. So 10% plus 8%, 18%. Because the real return and the expected inflation are relatively high, there is a significant difference between actual Fisher effect and the approximation. I recommend you should usually use exact Fisher effect formula. Approximation should be fine if the numbers are relatively low though. Pop quiz 6. If we require 2% real returns and we expect inflation to be 1%, what is the exact and approximate nominal rate? Please solve them. Let's use the exact formula first. So nominal rate equals to 1 plus real rate 2% times 1 plus inflation 1% minus 1. If you solve this, this is going to be 3.02%. Approximately, the nominal rate equals to real rate plus inflation. So 2% plus 1%, 3%. Since the numbers are relatively low, the gap between two calculations is not very different. Term structure. The relationship between time to maturity and yields of a bond is called the term structure. The graph that shows term structure is called yield curve. So when long-term rates are higher than short-term rate, we say that the term structure is upward sloping as shown in the next figure. This is upward sloping yield curve. And there are 3 components that determine the yield curve. First one, real rate. It is basic component underlying every interest rate, regardless of the time to maturity. When real rate is high, nominal rate is also high. However, it doesn't affect the shape of yield curve. Second one is inflation premium. It is determined by the prospects of future inflation. If an investor expects higher inflation in the future, higher nominal rate will be required. Third component is interest rate premium. Since longer-term bonds have greater risk, a much greater risk of loss resulting from changing interest rate than do shorter-term bonds, investor requires higher yield for the longer-term bonds. That's interest rate risk premium. So the shape of this yield curve is driven by this inflation premium. Because the interest rate risk premium trend is the same, real rate trend remains the same, inflation premium only changes. If the market participant expects that the economy will grow in the future, we will see the upward sloping yield curve. This is normal yield curve. Next figure shows downward sloping yield curve. It happens when short-term rates are higher than long-term rate. The major driver of this relationship is inflation premium, as I said. If an investor expects deflation in the future, we'll see this downward sloping yield curve since inflation premium of longer-term bonds is smaller. This is bad signal for the economy. It means that people expect that economy will shrink. So yield curve is generally considered as a good indicator of future economy. This is yield curve as of May 21st, 2020. The black one is a year ago and blue one is 2021. Unlike so-called current one, we can see that the year ago inverted yield curve zone was found from year 1 to year 3, the 1-year bond to 3-year bond. This means that we have some concerns for our economy in May 2019. Usually yield curve is bad, inverted yield curve is bad news in the market. Okay, so this is end of chapter 6, bond valuation. There are many new topics here, so please review them thoroughly. Thank you and see you in the next chapter.